The next chapter of our partnership depends on a clear and fair distribution of responsibilities. Europe must take the lead in providing robust conventional forces and take on greater responsibility for its own neighborhood, while the United States continues to contribute strategic and nuclear backing for the foreseeable future. The US has made this new burden sharing very clear, and Europe is acting. NATO is becoming more European so that it can remain transatlantic. The alliance needs to make sense for all members. Even the United States cannot act alone in today's world of emerging great powers. It needs allies. Having more than 30 of them all united in one powerful alliance is truly unique. It makes the United States stronger than any other of the great powers, and most importantly, stronger than its adversaries. But our alliance also needs to make sense for Europe. It depends on predictability. It depends on predictability of actions, and it depends on reliability of the American commitment. Questioning the territorial sovereignty and integrity of a NATO member state, excluding European allies from negotiations that are crucial to the security on the continent, all this damages our alliance and strengthens our adversaries, ladies and gentlemen. Let me also say a few words on Rubio's vision of the world's order. Secretary Rubio, yes, our international organizations have failed to solve many crises and conflicts. But the answer cannot be for a great power to go it alone. That might work in the short term. But in a world of more competing great powers, this will definitely not work in the long term. There's a much better way. Reforming and reinvigorating international organizations, just as Marco Rubio pointed out this morning too, so that they deliver what is crucial: peace and security. We can only do that together. Ladies and gentlemen, a strong and capable alliance is particularly crucial given the many interconnected threats and uncertainties we face. In Europe's southern neighborhood, we are confronted with a complex mix of fragile states and terrorism, as a recent resurgence of ISIS in Iraq has shown. It is easy but dangerous to overlook these simmering threats, considering the huge blow they can strike at both Europe's and America's security. In the East, we are faced with a highly armed and aggressive military power with the world's largest nuclear arsenal at its disposal. Russia is driven by raw power, revisionism, and egoism. Nowhere does this become more apparent than its brutal war of aggression in Ukraine. Moscow is not acting alone. It is pursuing the revisionist agenda by cooperating with China, Iran, North Korea. It is trying to use international fora such as BRICS and turn them into anti-Western blocs. Up north, Russia and China are getting ready to project military and economic power in the Arctic. In the event of an escalation in Europe, Russia would most likely use its northern fleet to open a second front, cut transatlantic supply chains, and threaten both sides of the Atlantic with nuclear submarines. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world of fragility, we cannot afford complacency. This is why Germany drastically increased its defense spending. To do so, we took a really huge step. We amended our constitution. This speaks volumes of how serious we are about our commitment to security and defense in and for Europe. We will reach our new defense spending target of 3.5% by 2029. We reformed our military service law. This will lead to a much stronger active forces and more resilient reserve. We are meeting NATO's targets on investment, procurement and readiness. We have significantly scaled up investments in our defense industry, expanded production capacities and streamlined our procurement processes. Germany today is guided by determination and strength. But one thing, ladies and gentlemen, never change. We will not act alone, but always in close coordination with our allies as a reliable partner. Division is weakness, especially when facing revisionist powers. We cannot allow internal or external powers to drive a wedge into our alliance. It is unity that gives us strength, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why Germany is working towards building unity at the heart of NATO and the heart of Europe. That is why we are deploying a full combat-ready brigade to Lithuania. That is why we are strengthening maritime security with Canada, Norway, Denmark and Iceland in the North Atlantic. That is why we are now the largest supporter of Ukraine. And that is why our support for Ukraine will not waver, even as Putin's brutal war of aggression is entering its fifth year now. And when it comes to the future of Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen, 3 points are crucial in my view. First, we will keep looking for paths to a reliable peace, because Ukraine's future is fundamental, not just to European security, but to global security. We need a peace deal that safeguards both Ukraine's and our European interests. Second, the ball is in Putin's court. He is the one who is dragging out negotiations and is showing no willingness to compromise. He is shifting the cost of war to his own people. But he must not be mistaken. We will continue doing everything in our power to protect Ukraine as an independent, sovereign European nation. We will keep up the pressure politically, economically and militarily. And third, we will have peace. And when, not if, this day comes, we will have to make this peace last. We will have to shield Ukraine from any potential future aggression by Russia. To accomplish this huge task, Ukraine needs substantial, reliable security guarantees. And it was, in fact, Marco Rubio who made an important point in 2014 before the US Senate. He reminded everyone that the 1994 Budapest Memorandum did ultimately not serve the purpose of providing for Ukraine's security. Quite the opposite. 20 years later, Russia invaded and annexed Crimea. Therefore, our lesson for today, ladies and gentlemen, must be: we cannot afford another paper tiger like the Budapest Memorandum. To provide credible and reliable security guarantees, all of us, European and Americans, have to deliver. Europe and Germany stand ready to play their part. Ladies and gentlemen, when listening to today's and yesterday's speeches at this conference, I am once again reminded of my mother's biography. She lived through the radical destruction of the German democracy and the international order, because not enough people in Germany and elsewhere stood up to those who wanted to destroy and replace it with their barbarian ideology of war and suppression. But she also witnessed the emergence of a new, stable, free and rules-based order, thanks to the dedication of those who worked to establish it. This brought peace and freedom to large parts of Europe. There were times when we Europeans took this all for granted, and when we did too little to support the precious order, when we dwelled on our weakness, when we complained, when we criticized each other for inaction. And Radoslav, we all remember your famous words about German inactivity. The reality today is very different. Combined European armies outnumber any other army in the world. We are spending much more on defense than ever before. Our defense industry produces top-tier equipment. We are taking our future into our own hands in the areas of joint capability development and procurement financing. But, to be clear and honest, there's room for more, for much more. I want German and European security and defense policy to be more effective and more hard-edged. I want Europe to be more than a strong economic force. It must develop more military power. It must take over more responsibility for its own security. I want our actions to be better coordinated internationally, and I want them to be more visible. I want security to be not just a whole of government, but a whole of society matter. This is key to building real resilience in Europe. I want us to be able to pursue our own interests and to stay the course even when the going gets tough. With the debates over Greenland, we have proven that we are capable, ladies and gentlemen, of doing so. We have to reform and harden our international organizations so that they can better deliver. We have to do more to strengthen our institutions and conventions, with both our traditional and potential new partners and, if need be, just us Europeans. In a less reliable world, we need more reliable politics. Our strongest currency in this world is reliability. In times of fragility and transition, when few things can be taken for granted, I want Europe to be a reliable anchor for other nations, a continent supporting and shaping an international order as a basis for peace and freedom, and, equally important, providing for its own security. Let us show what we Europeans are capable of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Pistorius. And now I would like to invite our distinguished panel to join us here. First and foremost, the President of the Republic of Lithuania, Gitanas Nausėda. Please, Mr. President, please join us here. Second, Mr. Taras Kachka, the Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine for European and Transatlantic Integration. Next, the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Radosław Sikorski. And last but definitely not least, Elisa Stolkin, I'm so sorry, the Senator, U.S. Senator, member of the Senate Committee on Armed Services, the United States. Thank you, Senator, for joining us here. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me maybe start for allowing to take the floor to our Ukrainian guests here, Prime Minister Kachka. If you could tell us what is the current situation in Ukraine and how has this hardest winter of all affected the civilian population?
Thank you for inviting and for this question. I think it's difficult to add to the description of situation that as it was done by President Zelensky, but I think that there is one thing that I would like from government to highlight, that the biggest target of Russia this winter is energy, and it's already fourth year they attack our energy, but this time it's like very tough, so that they use every type of missiles, ballistics, so there's the hypersonic, so that like drones and massive things. And what we see is that we are capable to defend ourselves, but technologically, so that we have two tactics. First is, as it was on the screens during President's speech, is to repair our energy system. But you need to have stocks of equipment in order to repair, so that's why we grab literally everything we can use in Europe, especially the equipment that is not used, obsolete, old-style equipment, to repair. And we will repair our energy till the moment that we will have stocks for equipment. And it is difficult to do because Russia is destroying, literally like attempts to destroy the energy system to the level that is not repairable. But we will not give up and we will continue to do so. Second big thing is that we are able to intercept, so that together with your support, with US equipment, European equipment, we can intercept almost everything, but also the question is the scale. So we need missiles to Patriots, to some TIRST, to other equipment, and with enough stocks we will be able to intercept. So now we are not successful in this, so that's why our pledge is like help us more, because this quantity is meta now, so this winter. So that's why this is the request. But what happens in Ukraine, so that the situation when you continue to make joke that out of free electricity, water or heat you can choose two is already optimism. A lot of people in Ukraine cannot choose nothing, so they have nothing, no water, no electricity, no heat in a very harsh winter. So why it is important for Russians? So Russia wants to use winter as a weapon. They have this memory of this because they defend them during Napoleon time. I don't know. So that, but now they are aggressor. They are trying to use winter as a weapon. We are not going to give up. And if we will survive this winter, this course will be done as well as their ballistic missiles if we have equipment. But now, so that life in Ukraine, especially in Kyiv, is that you have no choice. If you want to have a hot tea, you will wake up at 3 a.m. because you have electricity and you have your tea, and you try to maintain it till through the day. Or if you want to go to shower, so it's like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. When you have electricity, when you have water, you can do this. But we have whole districts where you have nothing at all. So like 5 kilometers from my apartment, so we have a district Tryeshina where a lot of people have no access because the power generation was destroyed to the level that they cannot help. And we really appreciate all the help with generators, with other resilience units and other helps, humanitarian help that is provided by citizens of Europe, governments of Europe, and I think with your support we will survive. And just to complete on this, I think that this is the picture of humanitarian catastrophe. But the morale of society is still very high, so no one is saying that we are ready to give up. So no social polls, not private opinions, no one is saying so that's enough, we are not ready to fight against Russia, so that's time to do it. No, the situation is absolutely different, so that's why our position remains the same. We are ready to fight, we are ready to protect ourselves. Please help us with all necessary security guarantee, and let's fight for the stable and just peace as it is requested by our President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that really informs us on the current situation. But to the President, when I listen to Prime Minister Kachka, I feel anger. Because on the one side you see resilient people fighting for their country, but then no nation should have to go through 4 years of this. And we see that the fourth winter is the worst winter so far, and nothing is changing. It seems like the situation for Ukrainians is becoming worse. Have we failed?
Yes, the Deputy Prime Minister described the situation quite well, and I can only imagine what is the situation in the flats of ordinary people where the temperature is, let's say, 2 or 3 degrees plus. We can only imagine living here in the European countries. For us, it was pretty clear from the very beginning. This is also about emotions, but emotions do not help. If emotions lead to the decisions, then emotions are constructive. So this was the reason why Lithuania was the first country to deliver the first weapons to Ukraine, even 2 weeks before the war broke out. I visited Kiev actually last day before the war started, together with former President of Poland, Andrzej Duda. And since then, I saw the big transformation of the thinking of European nations regarding the Ukraine. We started from the discussions, Should we deliver the helmets? Should we deliver life jackets or something else? And now where we are. We are in the situation where we are talking about the delivering of deep strike capabilities, missiles, air defense systems, ammunition. Yes, they are still in lack of these goods, and we try to do our best in order to support them consequently. But what is my thinking, and Russia is proving every day that Russia is not ready for the peace. And I don't think that they will be ready to peace negotiations. I don't know, maybe in 27, 28, but not in 26. Because all the actions show that they are just imitating the negotiations process and at the same time trying to break the morale of Ukrainian people. Yes, they are not successful by doing this. This is good side. But this is at the cost of suffering of Ukrainian nation, Ukrainian people, brave Ukrainian people. I really admire this nation. This nation is exceptional, being able to withstand this huge pressure of big country, big aggressor, 4 years in a row. But without our support, they will be not able to succeed. So what is needed right now? Our support, continuous support, our readiness and our unity with our transatlantic partner too. And we try to do it in European Union formats. I am the member of European Council. I am happy that we were able to take the decision regarding 90 billion euros as a military support to Ukraine. Not always we are successful. Sometimes we face some delays. We face differences in the opinions. But we are ready to provide these decisions, and we are ready to stay with Ukraine until the end of the war.
Thank you. Prime Minister Sikorski, I think we all agree here that we don't believe in Russia's intention to end this conflict anytime soon. Where do you think we're going to be a year from now, sitting at this stage? Where would we want to be, and where are we going to be? And what can we do today to make sure that Ukraine will not be going for a 5th year of war and a 5th winter that might be even more devastating than this one?
I'll answer your question, but let me make 2 brief points first. First of all, I'd like to associate myself with what Minister Pistorius said, that it was natural for the United States to be in the lead in these negotiations when the United States was providing the bulk of the military assistance. And the United States was also brave and effective in deploying strategic intelligence to deprive the Russians of the casus belli in the days before the war and in the early days of the war. But I would like particularly our American guests to know, because it's not fully in the American infosphere, we are now paying for this war. The American outlay for the war for last year was close to 0. We are buying American weapons to be delivered to Ukraine. There is no package in the US Congress, and that there isn't even the prospect of a package. If we are paying, if this is affecting our security, not just Ukraine's, then we deserve the seat at the table, because the outcome of this war will affect us. Number 2, consider what these attacks on Kiev and other Ukrainian cities tell you about Putin's ideology. The whole invasion was justified on the pseudo-Tsarist and Soviet grounds of Ukrainians being really just misguided Russians. If we get united, they'll see the light. So they were a brotherly kind of peasant version of Russians. And Kiev was really a Russian city. So Putin is now bombing his brothers and bombing a Russian city. I think that shows you that this is in fact a colonial war. He is just bent on conquering Ukraine again. This is the 3rd attempt. In the 19th century, they banned
з Кушнером, і це буде десь 19 година. Так, тобто ми спеціально хотіли проговорити з усією групою, з усіма, тому буде такий у нас офлайн і онлайн.
А у Швейцарії новий раунд, які задачі ставити взагалі команді? Колеги, я перепрошую, давайте почнемо поїхати словами. Давайте мікрофони поставимо.
Так.
Валерія, будь ласка,
Окей.
чекайте, давайте поряд.
О, no. Ми? Давай. Окей. Може там 5-7 хвилин буде пізніше? Ні? Окей. Може ми почнемо?
Ще не готові.
Окей.
Чекаємо. Я модерувати, так.
We will have 20. Not too much, so maybe we can start. I think so because we don't have too much time.
I understand. Is everybody ready? Yes. 1 second. Okay. Вова. Ну що? Ну все.
Ми ж можемо просто розмовляти.
Okay. Okay. We'll Okay, well, we can start. I have to warn you here that we'll have a hard stop because Mr. President has further commitments. He will meet with Marco Rubio, so we'll have a hard stop, so I apologize in advance. Yes, please, we can start. Yes. Zaryan, you can. Zaryan.